Squizzy Taylor is a name that even today resonates in the criminal history of Australia. Taylor was reviled by many, even by his own associates. He was generally seen as a violent thug and was implicated in at least half a dozen murders, yet the little gangster was never convicted on a capital charge. On the one occasion he did go to court to defend a murder charge, it was over the brutal execution of a man who refused to cooperate in one of Taylor's most audacious armed robberies. Wearing the corporate uniform of the Globe Motor Taxi Company, blue dust coat with nickel buttons, William Patrick Haines set out on his first job for that morning of February 29, 1916. The 21-year-old driver, grandson to Dr. William Clark Haines, Victoria's first Premier, gunned his dark blue Unique double-seater, number 1102, into action and set out from the South Melbourne depot to collect the mysterious caller who gave the name as simply Mr. Lestrange. The pickup address was Cliveden Mansions in East Melbourne, and the route would take them through the back blocks of Eltham. The purpose of the trip was not disclosed. William Haines collected his passengers, a tall man and a slightly built dark man in the back seat, who, according to one witness, put me in the mind of Charlie Chaplin. For William Haines, it would be his last job. Later that day, his tourer was found abandoned on the corner of Bulleen and Thompson's Road. William Haines's body was later found in the front compartment, covered with a rug. None of his cash, about 6 shillings, was taken. Mounted Constable Simon Costello was the first officer to arrive and later gave a graphic description of the crime scene to the coroner.
I found the dead body of a man inside the car. He was in a sitting position under the scuttle dash. There was a rug covering the body that reached from the scuttle dash to the driver's seat. It covered the body completely from view. The crown of the head was pressed hard against the roof of the scuttle dash. The chin was pressed hard down on the chest. I saw blood coming from the wound over the right ear.
3 days later, Costello located the fibre suitcase carried by the two men from the depths of a murky waterhole about 300 metres from the crime scene. And in a separate discovery, police converged on a partly dug grave about 2 kilometres from Clayton. Police formed the view that Haines was to have been used as a getaway driver in the robbery and kidnapping of Hubert de Mol, a bank manager who cycled through Bulleen carrying the proceeds of his Templestowe agency. Under the plan, Mr. de Mol would then be driven to Clayton and executed, and his body buried in a specially prepared grave. The driver would also be disposed of if he proved an obstacle, but the robbery was aborted when William Haines seemingly refused to participate. The police investigation gathered considerable pace, and the evidence strongly pointed in the direction of Joseph Leslie Theodore Squizzy Taylor and his criminal cohort John Williamson. Detectives were dispatched to the Flemington Racecourse, where they picked up Taylor and Williamson, initially holding them on a vagrancy charge, which a week later was upgraded to murder. The two were held at the City Watchhouse in separate cells. After fronting an identity parade, Taylor and Williamson were overheard by the head nurse, Amelie Freiley, discussing the strengths of the case against them. Nurse Freiley even drew a sketch to help the jury understand the layout of the cells. She told the court the cells were about 6 metres apart, and she had been in the female bathroom opposite when she heard Taylor call out to Williamson.
I heard Taylor call out, "Jack." Williamson then called out, "Have you got your head out through the door?" Taylor said yes. Williamson said, "Mind the gate, no one about." Taylor said, "Did they pot you when you went out in the yard, Jack?" Williamson said, "No, I don't think so, but I don't know what they said to the Ds when they came in." He also said, "Do you think the women last night identified us?" Taylor said, "I don't think so, but what about this morning? I had to take off my hat." Williamson said, "Oh, I think it's all right, they can't pot us." Taylor said, "They can't identify us." Williamson said, "Mind the gate." Constable Murray then came through the gate into the corridor.
Taylor and Williamson were committed by the coroner to answer charges of willful murder, and at their trial the pair was not short of alibis. Taylor's in particular included his girlfriend, the married Alice Bell, a barmaid at the Old England Hotel. Bell was not shy in her accounting of their movements on the day the chauffeur was murdered.
I remember seeing him on the evening of the 28th of February, on Monday evening. We went home together that night. I remember the 29th, the Tuesday. I got up about 9 o'clock that morning. I got up first. He was with me from the previous night up to the time I left for the city on that day. He was with me all the time and never left me.
Bell's version was backed up by the redoubtable gangster and two-up king Henry Stokes. A mean and violent man, Stokes was a loyal ally of Taylor, who provided protection for his illegal gambling operations. Stokes told the court of visiting Taylor that morning, where he spoke to the little gangster and Miss Bell. According to Stokes, he was still in his pyjamas when he left. Under cross-examination, Stokes rewrote his criminal rap sheet, telling the jury,
I am a horse dealer and a bookmaker. I have not a two-up school and do not participate in the game. None of my friends are convicted men.
Stokes admitted he knew Taylor very well and often saw him at the racetrack. He even visited him in jail before the trial.
We did not chat over where he was on the day of this murder,
Stokes claimed. Taylor and Williamson were found not guilty of Haines's murder on the grounds of insufficient evidence. But Taylor would go down for 12 months on vagrancy charges. Taylor's murder acquittal was not unexpected by the police, given his reputation for trial tampering. 3 days before the coronial inquiry, the Police Commissioner's office expressed its concerns. In an April 1 memorandum to the prosecutor's office, Police Command wrote,
We would respectfully suggest that the service of a solicitor from the Crown Law Department be obtained to assist the coroner in the examination of witnesses. As in a case of this kind, the witnesses are somewhat nervous and require very careful handling. No doubt attempts at alibis will be made on behalf of both Williamson and Taylor, the two men we suspect of committing the murder.
It wouldn't be the last time that Squizzy Taylor was accused of tampering with a trial.